What's up, good gamers of the internet? I'm your host, Sebastion Mauldin. This is the Single Player Experience Podcast. And for those of you who are new to the show, let me introduce what this show is. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the Single Player Experience Podcast, the premier podcast where you can find out about the single player blockbusters. You can find out about the indie games. You can find out about the games that have been overlooked. You can find about the games that are constantly adored. You can find out about the video games that you should be playing and that should be in your video game backlog list. So if you're a single player gamer, you've come to the right place. Now, as I said before, I'm your host, Sebastion Mauldin, and today, I want to start off with a confession. Hollow Knight, everybody. Hollow Knight and we've had a complicated relationship. This is one of those games that gets constantly praised. It's always on those best indie games of all times list. People swear by it, gamers stream it, reviewers adore it. And for some reason, for some inexplicable reason, it just didn't click for me. Like the first two times that I played it, it just didn't click. So the Hollow Knight Silksong coming out, one of the most anticipated sequels of all of indie gaming, one of the games that people have been waiting for almost as long as GTA. No, I'm kidding. Nothing's been that long, but with a game that people have been looking forward to for about 7 years now, it feels like this felt like it was it for me. It felt like it was do or die time. It felt like I was either going to finally click with Hollow Knight, really click with it, or I was going to delete it from basically my consoles and decide that this wasn't the right game for me and walk away forever. Today, in this episode, I want to take you on my journey, my journey of my third attempt at Hollow Knight, and whether or not it finally clicked for me, what still frustrates me about the game, and who this game is actually for if you haven't played it already. So we got all that, and stick around, everybody, because later in the episode, we're going to be talking about the sequel to Hollow Knight Silksong's price announcement, and we're going to be talking about an upcoming indie that I think you should definitely check out, even though it's been delayed by just a little bit. So everybody, let's jump in, strap in, grab your controllers. If you're on the road, just sit back, relax, and listen to this great podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Cue the intro.
Round one, fight.
And that's the bottom line.
His kick is good.
I need a weapon.
You cannot escape.
You can get 1,000 things every day. How about you make sure this is one of them?
Here we go.
It's time for the main event.
All right, so first off, before we even begin, I probably need to talk about my history with Hollow Knight. Give you a little context. I remember when Hollow Knight was first launched back in 2017, back before the world went to shit with the pandemic, back before, everything was good with my Philadelphia Eagles, back before, everything was crazy with my Dallas Mavericks. Yeah, I remember back in 2017, the reviews for Hollow Knight were absolutely glowing. People were calling it a masterpiece right out of the gate, and for me, as a gamer, and for who I am, I hate being left out of the hype train, especially when it comes to video games. So I had to cop it, and I downloaded it, and I played it for probably an hour and a half, and nothing. All the hype that people were talking about, all the praise that it was getting, I sat there with controller in my hand and looked at the game, and I thought to myself, this game's absolutely gorgeous. The details are stunning. I like the character designs. I think this game, I could see why people liked it from a visual aesthetic, but it just didn't grab me. I don't know what it was. It just didn't grab me. Maybe it was like some of the other games I was playing around that time. Maybe it was because I thought the intro was a little slow at the time, or maybe it was because my attention span was just on other things, but I moved on and I just went on and did my own thing. Fast forward a couple of years, and this was the height of the pandemic. It was sometime probably around 2020 to 2021. I was on this indie game kick. My video game taste absolutely changed. Everyone's on lockdown, and you got more time on your hands. And I tell myself, okay, Sebastian, you are enamored with indie games like you've never been before. Like, sure, you've played a lot of indie games beforehand, well, a couple here and there, and you've liked most of what you played. But I was on this kick, y'all, of trying to find the most innovative indie games that I could possibly play. And so I told myself, okay, Sebastian, this is it. This time, you're really going to do it. You're going to sit there, you're going to play some Hollow Knight. You're going to find out what everybody loves about it. It's probably going to click for you. Yeah, this was it. This was the time. So I booted it up. I think this was on the PS4 at the time. So booted it up. Didn't make very much progress at all. And same thing, it just didn't stick with me. So once again, I decided to bounce. And we rolled around this time around. We fast forward now. We're in 2025. This time I saw Hollow Knight Silksong. Once again, I'm a gamer that suffers from FOMO. If I feel like a single player game is getting praise and acclaim, I at least want to see what the conversation's about. I want to see what the hype is about, whether or not it deserves it, whether or not it's a game that's going to resonate with me and I can be a part of that conversation in a meaningful way, or whether or not it's just, I see what the hype is about, but it's not for me. Yeah, fast forward a couple of years, and we're in the height of the fast forward, we're in 2025. Everything is pretty good. Like I'm still on this indie game kick, like I've always been on for the last, like ever since the pandemic, and I decided this time it was time to do something radical. It was time to do an dedicated challenge with Hollow Knight. So here's what I did. I set some rules. Rule number one, and this was a really important rule because I really wanted to give myself a chance to either say I 100% have tried this game out, or and actually gave it a fair shake, or I tried this game out and it didn't click with me. It's just not a game for me. So, rule number one, I'd give the game a dedicated 3 hours. Not a quick test, not a just let's just poke at it session, not a just let me turn it on and see if it actually just pops my attention real quick. 3 solid hours. That was rule number one. Rule number two, if I got lost, and I knew I would because I am not a metroidvania guy in the sense that I love these games because I like getting lost in the sense of, and I like that sense of discovery. No, I'm not that guy. I like Metroidvania games, but I like guided Metroidvania games. I use a guide for a lot of these things. And if it doesn't and my favorite Metroidvanias usually are the games that tell me and shoehorn in where I need to go next. So that's who I am. No shame in my game. I'm just going to let you know this is who I am as a gamer. So you have all the context you need to make an informed decision on whether or not I was a madman. So here we go. Okay, so I was going to use a guide here. I was going to figure out where I needed to go. No shame in my game. I was not going to let my frustration rob me of a good experience, or, rob me of what could be a good experience. So here we go. With those rules in place, I decided let's start fresh. No old saves, no baggage, just me, Hollow Knight, and a clock ticking down 3 hours. So, whew. Okay, so with that said, for this challenge, I decided to try this out on a combination I did on mostly my Xbox Series S and a little bit of the Steam Deck. I just gotta say, by the way, if you are in the market for Hollow Knight, if you don't already have it and you have like a Steam Deck or a Switch, this game runs beautifully on in handheld. And the Steam Deck, I can absolutely 100% say with absolute certainty, hands-on experience, runs great, looks phenomenal. It's the Steam Deck is absolutely perfect for portable bug sling sessions. I played a lot of this game also on the Xbox Series S, and that's what I have in my my living room. And I'll be honest with you, that game looks phenomenal on that console as well. So, with all that said, it's a great looking game, gorgeous. I gotta admit, I was originally tempted to break my rule when I first saw that old save that at 1.5 hours in, that's still miraculously saved from when I tried it out, you know, a while back. I was tempted to load it up and kind of skip ahead a little bit, skip the intro, but no, I wanted the full vision of Team Cherry from the very beginning. I wanted to see maybe if I missed the magic in that first couple of lines, that first opening segment. I wanted to really start fresh. So that's exactly what I did. And you know what? I gotta say, started fresh was the right call. Slowly, little by little, the game started to work its charm on me a little bit. So before I dive into what kind of happened next, give me a moment.
Mission complete.
Okay, so yeah, I had to get a drink of water, y'all. I was getting parched, but anyways, Hollow Knight. I've been talking about this game. I've been talking about my initial thoughts on it, and I just realized I've been a bad host. I haven't actually told you what Hollow Knight is. For those of you who've been sleeping under a rock, if you've been sleeping on indie games in general, if you just don't know, Hollow Knight is a 2D metroidvania. And if you're not familiar with that term, that means it's all about exploration, gaining new abilities, and using those abilities to unlock previously inaccessible areas. Now, Hollow Knight kind of adds a little bit of a Souls-like layer to that. And what I mean is like when you die, basically you drop your monies. And then you have to go back to the around the place you died, fight the shade of yourself in order to get your money back. And it's also kind of Souls like in the sense that combat is punishing but fair. If you kind of like Metroidvania games and you kind of like Souls games, like the Souls games from FromSoft, such as like the Dark Souls series and Elden Ring, you're in the right spot. Anyways, with all that said, the first hour, I was mostly swinging my little nail. Yes, the nail, which is basically a sword in the game, and trying not to die from these bug like creatures that were honestly looked like they were kind of pulled out of a Tim Burton sketchbook. Some fly, some crawl, some explode because, why not? It's some creepy shit in a creepy shit ass world, and everything needs to kill you. Ugh. So that was like the first intro part of the game. But then the game starts to open up. And from there you start finding new abilities, new charms, you get some spells. One of the first ones you get is this cool looking almost key blast if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, or if you're a Yu Yu Hakusho fan, it looks like the spirit gun. And, you know, after you start getting all those kind of things, you kind of get in your mojo. You kind of get in your bag a little bit. Suddenly, you're not just poking enemies and hitting them with that little stab and run back, stab and run back. Nah, you're kind of dashing, you're casting, you're chaining together moves. The combat goes from simple to this really satisfying and addicting rhythm where it feels like every hit that you accomplish feels earned, you know. And I want to talk about the world really quick. The world Hollow Nest, that the game revolves around, it is absolutely gorgeous. Every area, I remember them saying this, but every area you can tell was made with like absolute love and care because it is handcrafted to perfection. Like it feels like the artist just sat down and poured their souls into the background. You've got these dark, unsettling like these, what was it? Sort of like these dark, unsettling like caves or caverns, and they're all filled with these like creepy, crawly looking ass bugs. You got overgrown ruins, which feel like they're like nature reclaiming a fallen kingdom, which adds this really cool aesthetic that feels different than the opening area, but still its own unique kind of flavor with its own unique enemies and vibes. It's really cool. So you got that, and then you got some other areas, and all of them feel uniquely different, but all of them flow together naturally. So it feels like you're in this real world where all the things want to kill you. So yeah, Hollow Knight looks gorgeous. If you are watching the podcast as opposed to listening, you can see in the gameplay. Absolutely stunning, absolutely gorgeous game. If you haven't seen what Hollow Knight looks like, do yourself a favor. Even if nothing that I say in this episode resonates with you on a gameplay level, go and check out some of the gameplay footage. not necessarily mine, but even any gameplay footage on YouTube and really check out like the artistry that is behind Hollow Knight because it looks gorgeous. I think like this is a game that is eye candy, especially on a portable device. Do yourselves a favor, check it out. Just check out a clip on YouTube or even just a trailer. Silksong leaks even better, which is surprising considering this game is absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, Hollow Knight looks gorgeous. But another thing I want to talk about that I was absolutely sleeping on that I got to experience this time around in my third attempt is the soundtrack. And this shit was absolutely amazing. It was so good that I had to like I stopped like around that hour 50 point, hour and a half point, not hour and 50 point, but like hour and a half point, and I like looked up who the artist was behind this. So it was a guy named Christopher Larkin, and he really did his thing, y'all. So from the moment you step into Dirt Mouth and hear like the somber like themes and tones, you already know you're in for something like special and unique. The music feels like sad, it's beautiful, it's haunting, and it sells the atmosphere in a way that really it's hard to find words for. So yeah, check out that soundtrack for Hollow Knight. I think it's one of the best features in a game that's stacked with good ass features. All right, so I want to be clear. I've been gushing about this game. I've been singing its praises, but I want to be absolutely clear. Like on the third time around, unlike the first two, I found myself vibing with Hollow Knight in a way that resonated and hit with me that in a way that it did not the first two times around. Maybe it's because I dedicated some time to it, legitimately dedicated like a play session, a strong play session towards this game. Maybe it was the time and place and my appetite and who I am as a gamer now, but it's been clicking with me more than it ever did for my first two previous attempts. With all that said, though, let me be clear. As much as I'm vibing with this game right now, it is not perfect for me. Not for me as a gamer, and that is okay. Here's some of the beef I have with it. The map system. I get it. Discoverability is the point of it. Team Cherry wanted you to kind of feel lost and find your way in this decaying world, slowly piecing together all the mysteries and all the areas and all the secrets of this game. I get that. That's some great shit. If you love discoverability, you're gonna love this damn game. But yet me, I kind of told you at the very beginning of this episode, if you're listening on the podcast episode, me, when I get lost, I'm the guy that has to like really pause and I gotta ask myself, do I want to continue playing a game that I get frustrated in because I can't find my way on what to do next. I'm not a discoverability guy. I'm like a tunnel vision, give me a objective and let me fight my way or work my way to the objective. So for Metrovanias, like it's a lot of them are hit or miss with me. It depends on like how well I'm actually liking the game and if I actually want to go through the struggle, of getting lost and trying to work my way through the areas in the game. So, no shame in my game this time around. I am using a guide. And it's been helping me. So, anyways, yeah, the second thing I don't necessarily love about the game is the Souls like elements. So, I've never been a Souls guy. I appreciate them. I respect them from a design perspective. I respect how many people have fallen in love with like the unique aspects of the Souls games. For me though, they ain't fun. Like I do not enjoy playing Souls games. The only Souls inspired video games that I really like loved were Jedi Fallen Order, which is, if you don't know, that's like a Star Wars game where you're playing as Cal Kestis in almost you're playing in that area after the order. What was it? Order 67? I believe. But anyways, it's the order where the clones actually annihilate all the Jedi. Spoiler for if you haven't actually seen the movies. But anyways, so I really enjoyed Jedi Fallen Order and I really enjoyed Jedi Survivor. And honestly, I think I enjoy those because they're mostly Star Wars games. You give me a lightsaber and the Force, and I feel like I'm living my power fantasy. Like I'll put up with the pain and the light Souls elements because I really love the aesthetic, the vibes, the storylines, all that kind of stuff. So if it has to be like stuff that I really love for me to want to put up with Souls like elements. So this game, I'm liking it so far, but I hate the fact that when I die, my money's on the line. I'll be struggling to get that money, y'all. I'll be fighting against all these creatures. I'll be getting my ass whooped. These roly polies that basically like ball up, and then like charge at me, be whooping my ass. The bosses have been hammering me down. I hate when I die in this game, and I have to go back and try to get all that hard-earned money from my previous victories back. I absolutely despise that, but I get it. It sort of makes the struggle and makes the challenge worth it because there's so much on the line. Like I get why people love that. It's that victorious element. There's that satisfying feeling to where like you overcame the struggle and overcame the challenge with these huge stakes on the line. So I like that. I get that. It's just not for me. It's not my favorite aspect of video games, and I think I would have enjoyed Hollow Knight a lot more if it was a roguelike. By the way, Team Cherry, make a rogue like Hollow Knight, and I'm there day one. So, anyways, with Hollow Knight, yeah, with Hollow Knight, those are the two like aspects that I really don't like about the game. I don't like the map system, even though I think it's really cool that they allow you to purchase maps, and there's a discoverability aspect in you like being able to scout out different areas and such like that. I think for people who love that type of thing in video games, this is a game for you. I don't like that shit though. But anyways, moving on. So, what's up, everybody? If you have not ever played Hollow Knight, like never played Hollow Knight, I want to tell you who this game is for, like, and who should be actually playing Hollow Knight. If you are a Metroidvania fan, this is your crown jewel. If you love exploration, challenge, and the thrill of overcoming a tough ass boss that'll probably kick your teeth in more times than you can count, but you're gonna have this big cathartic like feeling after you whoop his ass, then this is a game you should definitely check out. Like Hollow Knight's absolutely beautiful. It's gorgeous. If you like Metroidvania games that absolutely pop off on your screen, you should definitely check this game out. I think for those people, especially Metroidvania fans who like Souls elements, then this game will probably rank as one of the best games ever made in your opinion. But if you're like me, someone who doesn't necessarily vibe with vague maps, punishing mechanics, and things that kind of make you like yell out into the void as you struggle, as you get your teeth kicked in, I'd still say kind of give this game a chance. It didn't click with me the first time or even the second time. But right now, the third try, I'm having a great time with it. So if any of that describes you, definitely check out Hollow Knight. All right, everybody, let's pivot to some news. And one of the news topics that I really want to talk about is Hollow Knight Silksong. That's right, the game that is one of the most anticipated sequels of all time. It's one of the most anticipated indie games of all time. Hollow Knight Silksong is a game your mother, brother, children's cousins, baby mama wants to play. Hollow Knight Silksong it's become legendary with how much people are salivating for this game. Anyways, so with the upcoming sequel, Hollow Knight Silksong got some big news, and the news really took me off guard. It surprised the shit out of me, if I'm being blunt. Hollow Knight Silksong is going to launch at just $20. You heard that right, everybody. $20, $20, 20 smackaroos, 20 just five, $4 or $5 bills. That is absolutely wild. I don't know whatever $20 equates to in your region, 20 American dollars, but that's how much it's going to pay, and that's how much you're going to pay for this game, and that's insane. With all the hype surrounding this game, all of it, Team Cherry could have easily charged $30, $40, hell, maybe even $50 for this game. Yeah, I think this needs to be celebrated. Hollow Knight at just $20 is a major shout out to video game fans that's been waiting so long for this game. I love it. I absolutely love it. We're getting a lot of value for a buck here with, Hollow Knight Silksong. By the way, I think we're living in an era to where some indie studio, like some AAA studios, let me put it like that. Some AAA studios are trying to convince us that $80 is the new standard. And here comes games like Expedition. Here comes games like Split Fiction, like Kingdom Come Deliverance. Mafia, the old country, and the game we're talking about right now, Hollow Knight Silksong, saying, nah, you know, we're just going to charge a modest little fee, but we're going to deliver so much bang for your buck. With Hollow Knight Silksong, they're like, nah, you got $20, we got you, fam. Like, honestly, shout out. I cannot say this enough. Shout out to Team Cherry. This is how you build absolute goodwill with your fans. Major shout outs. You've earned my respect. Everybody, if you got $20, go support these games. Go support games just like this one. All right, so I want to pivot and talk about like a side effect or a ripple effect of Hollow Knight Silksong's hype, so to speak. And that's another game that I was really looking forward to playing. Demonschool got recently delayed. And the reason being is that, like Demonschool had its date all locked up. It was supposed to come out the same week that Hollow Knight officially launched its release date for, and they wisely decided we're gonna get the hell out of Dodge. Like I was looking forward to Demonschool for a number of reasons. For one, Demonschool is like this weird game that I feel like was made for me. It's like a mashup of Fire Emblem meets old school Persona with the aesthetics and like the story aesthetics of kind of like Yu Yu Hakusho, which is one of my favorite games of favorite animes of all time. I played Demonschool at PAX, and trust me, it's a banger in the making. If they deliver on the demos that I played, this game is going to be absolutely insane. The game does deserve its own spotlight. It deserves its own hype. It deserves its own launch window to really like have a chance to really succeed and to really stand out on its own. So I'm glad they moved out of the way of Hollow Knight. Like I'm glad. I think that was a smart decision. I respect that. So I want to put everybody on game. If you are remotely interested in kind of like like I was saying, Yu Yu Hakusho, old school Persona, if you're interested in tactics games like Fire Emblem, if you like that like supernatural anime type of vibes, then I would definitely recommend you check out Demonschool. The game is very fun to play. I think like the elements of like the boss fights, the characters, some of the after school activities, some of the ways you connect with the people and the team around you remind me of a lot of Persona. The gameplay itself and the tactical elements of like the grid and the board that you're playing on reminds me of Fire Emblem. The aesthetics and the kind of vibes and the powers you get of fighting like supernatural entities remind me so much of Yu Yu Hakusho. I think if you like any of these elements, definitely go check out Demonschool. This game is going to be absolutely insane. I think it's worth your time. Go wishlist it. Go check out the demo and let me know what you think if you do check it out. All right, everybody. Well, that's going to wrap up today's episode of the Single Player Experience. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me as I shared that little tidbit, that little tale about my third attempt at Hollow Knight and whether or not the game kind of twisted and clicked for me this way that it really didn't the first time. I'm just going to let y'all know off the top, I'm still in the process of playing Hollow Knight. I think this game is a lot more fun than I initially gave it credit for. I'm going to use the guide. I think like I'm not really sure if the elements that I disliked that I talked about earlier are going to keep me from actually finishing the game or, like playing any bonus content or post content after the main storyline of the game. We'll see about all that. We got to see. And plus, there's a lot of games to play. I might even check out Silksong just to see what the hype is about. So, anyways, yeah, I want to hear from you though. Did Hollow Knight did Hollow Knight initially grab you? Have you ever experienced a game where it took you like a couple of tries to actually get invested in the game, or like maybe you tried a game out like the first time and it didn't click, but then you came back and all of a sudden you're absolutely vibing and loving it? Let me know if that's ever happened to you. Hit me up in the Discord. Let me know in the comments below. Let's talk about it. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's episode, please hit that subscribe button, leave a review, share it with your fellow gamers, tell your mama's brothers, sisters, aunties, baby mama's cousins, brother, everybody you know. If they like video games, this is the show that they should be checking out. And everybody, as always, remember, gaming is always better when you play it at your own pace, and the best experiences are often the single player ones. I've been Sebastion Mauldin. This has been the Single Player Experience, and until next time, bye everybody.